Well, good morning, everybody. Let me get my notes up here. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to today's Esoteric Influences for the 11th day of July 2020. Before I get into the actual interpretation for the numerology, if you want to, you can, if you haven't gone over to Stepping Aside and clicked on the Esoteric Influences for the week, if you want to follow along, that is, I mean, you don't have to do that. It's just that down at the bottom is the human design stuff, and so you can see what the chart looks like for that for today. That's all. But if you want to do that here, if you haven't already, I just want to explain a little bit about this, the numerology of the whole day today, including the month, the day, and the year, because we have a 7 energy for the month. That's balance. That's balancing dark with light or transmuting ego into spirit. We have an 11 day, which is the master number for awakening and illumination. And then the month doubles that. The month doubles that with a 22 month. And so we're talking the cosmic builder there, or soul level change. It's a very profound energy today, bringing everything into balance so that you can then receive information from spirit, from your soul, and let that guide you. We have a choice every day. Do we let ego guide us, or do we let spirit? Well, we're spirit inhabiting a body. Why would we let the body do it? Because the body is the place of the ego. It's the part that wants to be separate from the soul, that wants to go out and have a good time, and doesn't want the soul being a buzzkill on it, right? Well, too bad. Just too bad. Receive that enlightenment today, because it's yours. It's coming from you. You already know what the truth is of things. You just got to listen. And don't be, distracted or by people saying, oh, being chaotic and provocative, and suddenly your attention is on that. And it's like you forget to step back and go, okay, what's really going on here? Yeah, it's one of those days. And the power is there to know. So do. So anyway, the master number day today, the 11 energy promises illumination and awakening. Be aware. I can't even talk today. Be aware of synchronicities and the messages they bring. I've done this a couple of times. It's like, oh, the roosters woke us up early. So I don't know. You never know. Sometimes they'll wake us up in the 4 o'clock hour. Sometimes it'll be the 5 o'clock hour. And sometimes I guess I must sleep right through it and I don't wake up till the 6 o'clock hour. But I never can seem to wake up any later than that. And now I can't seem to stay up late at night. So I don't know. I'm getting on the rooster's rhythm. I don't know. It's awful. It's just awful. But I guess I get more stuff done in the morning than I do otherwise. So it's actually a good thing. I shouldn't complain, because those two are actually really adorable. George and Rudy. George is actually a light Brahma, so we call him Lord Brahma as well. But Rudy is a Rhode Island Red, and he's gorgeous. These roosters are only maybe 5 months old, and they're just gorgeous. Anyway, I have some pictures of them on Instagram if you're interested. So there they are. You can go look at them if you want. Rado is the rune for today. A very complex bind rune, if you will. It means soul journey, partnership, process over goal, rhythmic movement, harmony, integration, cycles, justice. It's the air element rune. And here it is, all exploded out. We have Isa, the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark, soul alignment, basically. Flow with Laguz next to it. Flow from spirit. Vunyo is next. That looks like the letter P. That's fellowship and joy. So again, integration. And then we have Kenez 3 times, with the light of spirit turned inward, which should be how it really ought to be, because it should be, unless you're always aligned in spirit, and then it's not needed, you're just there, right? But if you're not, these days, ego takes over, and you really need spirit coming in saying, hey, pay attention to me and not that ego. And so from there, then you express it outward, the one in the center there. So for today, interactions with others resonate in shared purpose as we continue to navigate issues surrounding life in a pandemic, which, if we could all get it into our heads that we have to wear a mask and gloves out and about, and maybe give us a little more than 6 feet, particularly from people, particularly if we're indoors from them. Because now the World Health Organization has finally come out and admitted that, It's going to hang in the air, and it's indoors, and so in a sense it makes it airborne. Well, I mean, couldn't I mean, I knew that right away. You cough out, it's in the air. It makes it airborne. Well, maybe they have a different definition of it. I don't know. But I've always considered it that way because you cough out, you sneeze out, you talk, whatever. It's now in the air. Why couldn't they just, I mean, if only for practicality reasons, just tell us the truth, so that we can make the best decisions possible. But no, we had to have an idiot president who decides that it's a hoax. Yeah, well, the chickens will come home to roost on that, I fear. Well, I don't fear it, actually. I welcome it. The moon's in Aries today. Rise to the occasion and accept challenges that come your way. Spend time on your own, though, if your own or energies of others become too chaotic with the Aries energy and the moon. Sometimes it can. And so sometimes you're just better off on your own, if it's just too much or if you're too much, The moon conjunct Mars fosters impulsive behavior today. So be sure you look at the entire situation before acting again. That reflects the 7 energy today as well. Again, it also reflects Rado. So, and down at the bottom, again, if you're following along, we're going to go down to the very bottom of the post where we see the 11th day on the human design stuff. Remain assertive today, allowing your generous and thoughtful nature to shine. Know that by putting safety and security of others first, you actually protect yourself as well. Adopt a service to others attitude and ignore the naysayers, particularly the current occupant of the White House and his minions. You get nothing truthful out of these people, nothing. And now you're starting to see people come out and either say, yeah, it wasn't me. I don't actually know about this. Yeah, I don't, it's like General Milley saying, yeah, I don't know who gave that order. No one seems to know who gave the order to attack the protesters so that they could all take their little walk over to that church. Yeah. What happened there? Oh boy. You see, and now you have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs coming out saying, yeah, I don't know. Why don't you? Who's not admitting it? Or was it a civilian that did it? How did it happen? So, yeah, I mean, and you've got people now that are not really keeping their mouths shut, and I suspect some of it, you may start to see more of this going forward because of the Supreme Court's ruling that the president is not above the law. Even now, yeah. Listen, guys, that OLC memo that says you can't indict a sitting president, that's just a memo. That's some old dude who I think might have been old at the time. I don't know. I looked for pictures of them at that time just to see who they were. And somehow or another, either I'm mixing up something else I looked at, but to me, it's like, oh, an old dude did that, right? And so all because they wanted to protect the president. Anytime you see stuff like that that's not law, you have to ask yourself, okay, why did they do that? What could have been the ulterior motive? Because usually there is one. They're trying to protect somebody. It's just what they do for their clients when they're an attorney in court. They try to protect their clients, so they try to come up with some argument of why their client isn't guilty. Well, that may have been the reason for that when that was done. And so it was to protect the president at that time, that no, you cannot indict a sitting president. Well, that's garbage. The president should be the very person, the very first person that can be indicted in a situation like this. Because if we can all be indicted for wrongdoing, then so can the president. Because you have so much power in that office that if you have, like we have now, half of the Congress that has more, because the Senate has more Republicans than Democrats, they stop everything. House impeaches him for rightfully so, but they don't do it. They don't follow through and convict and expel him from office. Instead, they continue to make sure he can continue on doing what he's doing. And in the final analysis, we're going to be in such shock over what's happened. I don't even know. It's a very interesting situation that's unfolding, and now that we're getting down to the time of the election. It's just a little over 100 days from now. Between 3 and 4 months from now that we do this again, and we vote for another president. So I think that as time progresses, that's what you're going to see. And the cognitive test, that's to test dementia. I mean, they all go through it. You know, veterans go through it. My husband goes to the VA clinic. They have a way of asking certain questions of the vet, but it's done very quickly. And so in a sense, that's also a cognitive test, but the kind I believe he was given has to do with mental acuity, mental status. And if it was that day where they ran out of the White House and ran over to Walter Reed, because there doesn't seem to be any other time that he was there, unless it was just we don't know, or unless he's confused about where it happened. But it was very possible that something happened there that day, an event of some kind in him, and they ran out to the hospital, because they did. But they've never told us why. Guess what? They can't do that. They have to tell us why. We have to know. So there's a lot of deception going on right now. So, you know, maybe today some of that will start to come out, especially now that the Supreme Court has said, hey, guy, you're not above the law. And I love it. The two guys he put in that thought he could control, because he actually said it, well, you know, our guys aren't, you know, whatever it was he said, right, on Twitter, because he's stupid enough to put it there. Doesn't he know it's evidence? Every time he tweets something, it's evidence against him. He admits everything, right? Everything. He tells you everywhere you need to look. If he doesn't admit it, he tells you everywhere you need to look. So again, you know, pay attention. Take a step back. Look at the bigger picture, whether this is something going on in your personal life or whether it's what we're all collectively having to deal with right now. You know, I don't know. The energy's there to see the truth, so see it. All right, let it inform your perception instead of letting ego do that. All right, so anyway, that's all I got today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I have to go and take eggs today, so it's time for that again. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to write the esoteric influences for next week. So yay! I might even get a chance to do a correspondences and astrological information post for today as well. If I do have time to do that, I will. Otherwise, because I didn't get started on the esoteric influences other than getting the basic structure of it. I got that done yesterday, but I haven't actually done any of the interpretations yet. So I'll do that. And if you want to, you can, if you want it in your inbox, I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. No big deal if you don't. But on the side panel, there's a sign up for the newsletter thing. You just put your email in there. It'll go to my emails or no, I always say it that way, don't I? It's always wrong. It'll go to my newsletter software, and where it grabs those emails and puts them in the list. And then I just hit send and it goes out to everybody on the list. And so you can actually get these in your inbox if you want to on Sundays. Otherwise, you can just read them at the blog, or you can just come here, which I'd love you to do. So thanks so much for watching. Check for this on Instagram. It'll go up there as well. And looks like I'm within my time limit here. It'll also go up on Pinterest like I was able to do yesterday. I ended very quickly because I was like a second before 15 minutes. It's got to be under 15 minutes to go on Pinterest. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. It'll be there too. And be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.